Ooh. Testing, 1, 2, 1, 2. Hello to all you guys out there in YouTube land. Yes, it's me, Diarm. And why am I doing this video? Well, I want to say thank you for the great comments that some of you left on my previous videos. I'm going to make videos as much as I can, as often as I can, in whatever space I can. So, the purpose of today is I kind of wanted to talk about this for a very long time. Haven't really kind of formulated enough in my head to put it into a video. But the purpose of this video is to talk about morality. This comes up time and time and time again. If you're an atheist, where do you get your morality from? If there's no objective morality, where do you get your morality from? Etc, etc, etc. And it kind of keeps going around. So bear with me, because I'm not one of those people who memorize all these things off by heart. So I have jotted down some notes that I actually want to go through, that I want to talk about. One of them being a study that was done, and it comes to mind, but I just want to get my facts right, because at the end of the day, you guys are watching this, so I might as well get it right. There was a study back in the 1980s by a gentleman called Robert Axelrod. He was a political scientist. He organized a tournament where a bunch of computer programs repeatedly played the prisoner dilemma game against each other. And the goal was to have the most successful program playing Prisoner's Dilemma over and over again. So I'm going to cover Prisoner's Dilemma if people aren't familiar with it. Fingers crossed I'll stick some graphics up if I'm not too lazy. But cut long story short, Prisoner's Dilemma has, if you just kind of imagine a 4-box grid. So I almost draw it, you know, like I'll do it the other way around now. 4-box grid. So a box across in the middle, 4 areas. One area is about person A, and the other is about person B. So you can obviously see there are 4 options that would happen in the game of Prisoner's Dilemma. Now, depending on whatever options, there's some outcomes that come about. So it's almost that you imagine 2 people arrested by the police, both of them being interrogated about a crime. So, option 1, prisoner A, or captive A, says nothing. Captive B says nothing. So they both decide they're going to stay silent, they're going to cooperate, they're going to do something positive, they're going to cooperate with the other person and say nothing. So in that example, both serve 1 year. So both people incur a penalty of 1 year. So the best way of thinking about it is to add them together and think total penalty is 2 years. So, okay. So maybe it's a lot, maybe it feels like a lot. But really and truthfully, as we go through, might not be as much as you think. Anyway, so option number 2. So they both betray each other. They both say, yes, that person who did it, we both did it. And both people then serve 2 years in that. So prisoner A says, yeah, and betrays the other person. Prisoner B betrays the other person, and they both serve 2 years. So together, that's a total of 4 years. So it's twice as much. So if they betray each other, that's twice as much. But if prisoner A decides to cooperate and prisoner B betrays prisoner A, then prisoner A serves 3 years and prisoner B goes free. So it goes free, totally free. So no penalties, betrays the other person because the other person decided to cooperate, there's a problem. Yeah. And then vice versa. If prisoner B decides to cooperate and prisoner A decides, I don't want to cooperate, I'm literally going to betray the other person, then prisoner A goes scot-free, prisoner B incurs a penalty. And basically what that's trying to replicate in that is that if you cooperate, you might incur a penalty, a small penalty, but not a large one. But if you decide, take an example, you're in a tribe and you decide to go in and rob someone's food, you might incur nothing. You might actually get a benefit out of it. So that betrayal might incur you a very short-term benefit. But what it highlights is potentially there's other issues that might happen. So what they found when they ran this game, and they ran this, the most successful, they had all these complicated algorithms, complicated programs, but the program that won was a very simple one, which was called tit for tat. So what it did was it opened up by being cooperative, and then it replicated the response from the other program, from the other player. So I'll give you an example. Program A is going to be our tit for tat program. Program B, let's say in this example, is a cooperative program. So it's just going to be cooperative all the time. It's just cooperative. So program A opens with tit for tat, opens with a cooperative. Program B opens with a cooperative, and then because there's a cooperative program, tit for tat will then be cooperative, and they'll both cooperate. So let's say you've got program A is tit for tat, program B is a uncooperative, a betrayal program. So what then happens is tit for tat opens cooperatively, incurs a penalty because program B will answer with a betrayal. The next time the game comes around, program A, the tit for tat, recognizes program B. Program A will now go in with an uncooperative. Program B goes with an uncooperative. They both serve 2 years. So you think, okay, well, how does that answer anything about morality without having anything objective, without having anything complicated? Because I know morality is a lot more complicated than a tit for tat program. But if you think about it, if you really stop and think about this, if you were in a situation where you were by yourself, let's say, I don't know, 10,000 years ago. There's not a local Walmart, there's not a local Tesco's, there's no funding, there's no money, there's you. You're alone. You meet another individual. If you didn't openly cooperate with that individual, you might lose the opportunity to grow and have 2 people helping you. So you reach out to that individual. Now, luckily for you, that individual is a cooperative individual and wants to cooperate with you. So now there's 2 of you. And as we know, when we stopped being a roaming nomad people, I mean, when I say we, I mean the human race. When we stopped being roaming and nomadical, and we started to grow wheat, started to farm, started to have one person have the ability to grow more food, to cooperate with other people, that enabled us to start developing science, developing knowledge, developing arms and weaponry, because your whole life wasn't spent, or the whole life of the whole tribe wasn't spent just solely reproducing and getting food. So you can imagine there's 2 people that can now cooperate. So let's look at another scenario. Me, I'm an individual, I meet someone, I openly cooperate. That person now tries to rob me. So I might have a short-term problem, and I escape, I run away. But the next time I meet that individual, I don't cooperate with them. I meet them with hostility. I protect myself. Now, 2 parties are individual. The tit for tat philosophy is more likely to gain people who are willing to work with that individual. Tit for tat works as a philosophy that enables you to gather people around you, and strength comes in numbers. The strength of the human race comes in numbers. One human being versus one tiger, I reckon the tiger's going to win. We know that. Multiple human beings versus multiple tigers, you know what? I think the ingenuity that the human race has shown shows that potentially the tiger might be outmatched in that example. Strength for human beings come in numbers, in groups, in being social. And that's the heartbeat of it. So when someone turns around and says, if you don't have an objective moral system, why don't you just go around killing people? The most ridiculous argument that I've ever heard in my entire life. think back at this tit for tat philosophy, because that's why you don't. Because guess what? If I kill you, I'm by myself, I'm alone. There's only so much. Wealth is not worth anything unless there's other people around to share it with. Wealth is nothing without being based on a structure or a system. There's no power unless you have power over people. So even the most narcissistic people want to at least work with people to some degree. So therefore, if I go ahead and I object the most horrific things on someone else, then guess what? I'm by myself. And when we had to do that, we had to cooperate, the people who weren't cooperative slowly found themselves by themselves just by using a simple tit for tat ID. Simple as that. If someone did something negative to the tribe, they were banished. They were given one opportunity, and I think that's where a lot of people come out with one strike rules. You get one chance, and then if they didn't, they did something else, they got moved away, they got thrown out of the tribe, forced to live by themselves, and they starved. So the people that survived were the people that were cooperative. I find it frustrating that people do not understand that we didn't just wake up in modern society. We didn't just wake up with cars and boats. There was hundreds of thousands of years of development that moved us to this point. Social interaction, social communication, the fundamentals of what we think are just ingrained in us. Those things happened over trial and error. The ones that survived were the ones that stuck together. The ones that didn't. We still have psychopaths and sociopaths that are born into society. It's part of the random mutation of life that you will get these type of behavioral traits. But they're rare because if you talked about 100,000 years ago, that psychopath might have been by himself, might have been thrown out the tribe, forced to live, forced to fend for themselves by themselves. And it was a lot harder. So all of our knowledge, all of our functioning, if you miss out the years of development to get us to this point, you're missing something. And that's what frustrates me about people who forget that we have developed and learned over time. Anyway, that's just my piece on morality. I'd love to know what you guys think. I'd love to know if I make sense. I'm going to try and put some graphics in it so at least it makes sense to people out there who haven't seen things like The Prisoner's Dilemma. For me, it's fascinating that you can really delve back at these things, and we've used basic programs to simulate what might have happened. I'm rambling now, so I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to say peace out, have a safe journey wherever you're heading.